Waiting for the live stream to finish loading, and then we will begin. Okay, I'm going to wait a couple minutes, see if we get any people hopping on before I start. Hey, we have one person. I'm just going to give it a few minutes, see if we have a couple more people that hop on, and then I'll begin the stream. I'll start talking at about 2:05. Hi, Jill. I miss you. It's good to see you. As best as we can over the digital platforms. Your drawing is wonderful, by the way. Thank you for submitting that. I really, really like that. It looks really good. I liked your angle on the jawline a lot. Give it about 2 more minutes, and then we'll start. Jaws are really weird. Jaws are really, really hard to draw. Um, Getting the angles of those is a little bit difficult. We'll be talking more about Jaws, as a matter of fact, next week when we start portraiture. Hello, we have another viewer. I'm just going to give it another minute before I start jabbering on about this week. Hope everybody is enjoying this lovely schizophrenic weather we're having. Oh no, what? Hopefully my feed looks okay. My internet is not the greatest. Oh, don't worry, you're gonna be great. I know it. It's gonna be awesome. You'll be just fine at faces when we do portraiture. No worries there. I'm not worried about you. You'll be fine. Hi, Lily. Hey, John. I also loved your drawing that you submitted, Lily. I knew exactly whose it was as soon as I looked at it. Hey, Camilla. How's it going? Your drawing was also fantastic. Really, really love that. John, I'm still waiting for your submission for your drawing. All right, well, we might as well get started. Anybody who comes in can watch the recorded feed. Hi, Anna. Good to see you. Your drawing was fantastic. I'm so proud of all of you. So welcome to week 12, where we are going to be talking about the figure in space, which is super exciting. So before we start, let's have some real talk here. So it's been a rough couple of weeks. Stress is definitely increasing as the virus is getting more and more scary. How are you all doing with everything? What are your stress levels like? Hey, everybody, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I'm so happy that you guys are here. So, how is everybody doing? I know that stress levels are pretty high. I live by myself. I'm actually going home to Pittsburgh. I leave on Monday. I'm going back home because it's too much being here by myself, and that's just, real talk. Real talk. I have a dog at home, so we have a special guest next week if she will wake up long enough to come and hang out with us. You'll get to see my puppy. Her name is Sienna, and she's super cute, but her ears are too big for her head. Um, yes, self-portraits are a lot of work. I was really, really blown away by the projects that have been turned in so far, and I can't wait to see everybody else's. Um, so, really great job. Keep up the good work. Yeah, stress on a scale of 1 to 10 is definitely an 11 right now, and it's not even so much that just like school is stressful. It's school and all of the assignments with school and the virus and people being out and about not wearing masks and um, all the little stresses are just adding up to make this giant stress ball that's like the Death Star that's kind of like looming over everything. And that's a real thing. So I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. Oh my goodness. Group projects over Zoom, that sounds really, really difficult. I am not a huge fan of the Zoom platform myself. I know I've been experiencing some technical issues and some internet issues. I know some of my peers are also experiencing those, so Zoom has been a little stressful too. Luckily, my cohort and I are only about 7 people, so I think the most we have in one class is 13 people, so it hasn't been too bad, but I know that a lot of the undergraduate classes have a lot of people, um, and and that's really super stressful. Um, yeah, it snowed yesterday here too. I woke up and there was like this beautiful snowstorm outside, and it had all pretty much melted by the end of the day, but the environment is definitely having some stress too, it seems. Um, oh my goodness. Moving is rough. I'm moving too, Kevin. I totally get it. Luckily, I'm not moving all of my stuff just yet, but it is quite a long drive that I have before I have to get home, and I have a lot of stuff I have to do. I have like a paper due on Monday. That's like a huge chunk of my grade, and that's also the day that I leave to go home. And don't worry about it. Like I said, all of the projects are until the end of the semester. So get done what you can get done in whatever time you can get it done. I am not putting any late points on any assignments. Kevin, you also did submit some things for the figure, and I'm really proud of you. Like, be happy and be proud of the little things that you accomplish. I mean, I showered today, and that's a big accomplishment for me, and I'm going to celebrate that all day today. Um, yeah, Chicago's weather has been really, really strange. The nice thing about being in Chicago is all of the Mayor Lori Lightfoot memes. Those have kind of been keeping me afloat recently. I think they're hilarious. So my meme game has been pretty strong these past couple of days, and that's just one of those things that has been getting me through. All right. So, without further ado, let us talk a little bit about what this week looks like, and then we'll get right into it. I won't keep you long because I know you guys have lots of work to do, and I know that this is super stressful. Hi, Nicole. Good to see you. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So I'm going to go quickly here over to the Canvas page. Hopefully you can all see it this time. I did get a new platform. So this week is the Figure in Space. I have today's PowerPoint lecture uploaded if you'd like to follow along. This week's assignment is another 2 to 3 hour extended study. That's all I'm asking for. It's not so bad. And again, I'll be drawing with you. I was really glad to see some of you as you tuned into my random sporadic Instagram stories yesterday when I drew my friend Lewis, who is from the UK, over Skype. I'm totally cool if you guys have friends that you want to Skype with and your friends are willing to model for you and you're drawing them over Skype. It's a little bit hard because not all of the details translate over, and depending on the light source and things like that, things can be hard to see. So using your brain as artists and filling in that information that isn't there is really important. So if you're doing that, it's a little challenging, but go for it. It's a way to connect with people. Lewis was a fantastic model, and it was really good to just get to spend time with him too. So today and this week's assignment is an extended figure study, the figure in space, a 2 to 3 hour study of a figure in an environment drawn from observation. You must again include the entire figure as well as 3 layers of space, a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. I'll accept 2 layers of space. As long as you have like a middle ground and a background, I'll accept that too. And you can do multiple figures if you have multiple models, or if you want to do like a composite where maybe you draw the same figure a couple of times and then, put them into a space. You can do that. It's a little challenging. It'll probably take a little bit more than the required hours, but hey, if you like drawing, that's definitely something you can do. So you will be graded on those requirements, the composition, and then how well the figure is successfully integrated into the space. Is it believable? Is the figure resting believably on the ground plane? Again, on models, you can use Skype models, you can use pets, you can use parents. I will probably be drawing my dad sleeping next week at some point. No digital art again, sorry about that. I really want you guys to build up your hand-eye coordination and get used to the different drawing mediums. And be adventurous. You can try something new. You can use any medium you have. There's no paper requirements or anything like that. I also have a reading here from a book that I own called The Addictive Sketcher. It's a really, really cool book. I've scanned in some of the pages that I like. That I think will go along with this assignment pretty well. And the author of this book is a really great artist and also a really great writer too. The different things that he has in here are really, really great. And it talks about making drawing a habit, which I think is important, and it's something that a lot of artists struggle with, is making a habit of drawing and doing art and having that kind of discipline. I know I am totally guilty of that too. I'm really good at waiting until the 11th hour to do anything. So especially once you get towards the end here, there are some really great drawings and some really great instruction on figure drawing and also the figure in space as well. There's also some things on there about faces, which we'll be getting into next week, so it's a good preparation for next week, which we're going to be doing portraiture. So go ahead and take a look at that if you have some time. It's not a super long read. I know this one looks a little bit more wordy than last week's, but it's a really nice read. So we'll come back here. Let's see. You drew your dad sleeping, Kevin? Dads are the best for drawing. I have so many pictures and sketches of my dad sleeping. I know that's a little creepy, but it's just, you have a model right there and they don't move. It's wonderful. So yes, you can use your normal sketchbooks. If you have bigger paper that you'd like to use, I do find that especially when I'm learning to do something or when I'm practicing, I like to work as large as possible. It gives you a lot more freedom. It helps you have more of a range of motion with your hands. I recommend working as big as you can always, the bigger the better, but if all you have is your sketchbook and you don't have like a board to put your paper to or smooth walls to tape your paper on, that's totally fine. Just a regular sketchbook is all you need. Whatever mediums you have available to you, just use them, just so long as you're drawing. That's the really important thing. I always fall asleep during Chamber of Secrets too, so I think your dad and I would get along. I like the first movie, and I love Goblet of Fire, except the fact that they edited out the Quidditch World Cup. Also a giant Harry Potter nerd. So, if anybody has any questions on this week's assignment, just go ahead and throw those into the chat. I will be happy to answer those. Again, you can email me. Real quick, just want to bring back and let you know that if you're drawing and you have works in progress, make sure you tag me and post a quick snap to Instagram. I'm at Prof Feathers, PROFFEATHERS, all one word. Make sure you tag me in anything that you are drawing and post that to Instagram, and you will get extra credit. And again, my inbox has been pretty empty, so feel free to email me with any questions you have, or if you're struggling with something or you just want a little bit more instruction that you haven't gotten on any of these online lectures, go ahead and email me. I can look at your works in progress. We can talk a little bit about different things that you might be struggling with. You can take some reference photos in conjunction with in progress work and send them to me, and I can kind of try and see what's going on and see if I can give you any info. I'm also free to Skype or email, or if need be, shoot me an email. I can give you my telephone number. I'm also available for phone chats, especially if you just need somebody to vent to. That's totally fine. I'm a student too, so I know exactly what you're going through as well. But we're all in this together. We got this. Keep making great art. Again, super proud of you guys. Without further ado, let us get to today's lesson, which is the figure. And not only is it the figure, but let me see if my computer will load. Sorry, having technical difficulties. It is the figure. Maybe. Here we go. In space! I'm going to go back and redo that. In space. I'm really proud of that animation. So some drawing tips when you're working with the figure in space. Work your page. Get that whole picture plane. If any of you tuned in to the Instagram live yesterday, or if you check the Instagram, I posted some different in-progress photos. You got to be working that whole page, because that's what's really going to solidify your actual figure and help it rest in space. You have to make sure you're addressing all areas equally throughout your drawing. Don't spend more than a couple of minutes on a single part of the drawing until you get towards the end. A lot of times artists like to, when they're first approaching a drawing, and newer artists will say focus all of their attention on a face or a hand, and then the rest of the figure isn't in, and by the time you start blocking in the rest of the figure, either things aren't looking right because they're not at the same level of attention as the other parts that were already focused on, or things might be out of proportion. You might have done the head too big, and now your figure is being cut off by the edge of your picture plane, and you get points taken off for that. I want to make sure that you're definitely getting that full figure on there, practicing the full anatomy. So make sure you're working the whole picture plane at once. Also, always do what we've been doing. Start off with some thumbnails that, your thumbnails are in the shape of whatever picture plane you're using, the same shape as your paper, and that you're gesturing in real quickly the whole form that you want to draw to make sure that you have the right angle that you're looking for, that you're happy with your composition, and that you know about what your proportions need to be to fit your entire figure on the page. I did that as well yesterday. It was super blurry. Maybe I'll post a picture of my thumbnails from yesterday's drawing online after lecture today. Value, what shadows are the figures casting, and where. Cast shadows will really help to situate the form correctly in space, especially if a figure is sitting on something. There's going to be a really dark under that figure where the figure is sitting on that space, and that's going to help kind of put them correctly where they need to be. Gravity also changes form. What are the actual shapes of thighs on chairs? If you're drawing a reclining figure, usually the cheeks will maybe be a little bit distorted because gravity is actually having an effect on the side of one of the faces, the one that's closer to the ground. So make sure you're taking into account gravity and how it changes the different forms. Some more drawing tips. Perspective not only applies to rooms and spaces and objects, but also applies to the figure. So the figure will be sitting, sized accordingly, different body parts. Remember foreshortening, like those darn bottles we had to draw during the still life. Remember that foreshortening, that the limbs will also be in a sort of perspective as well. Spatial hierarchy, a note on that. Things get smaller as they recede in space, but spatial hierarchy also has a conceptual side to it, where things of greater importance are typically bigger in size. Again, thinking of like the ancient Egyptians, where Pharaoh is super huge and then everybody else is teeny tiny. So you can keep that in mind as you're creating your compositions as well. Maybe you have multiple figures, but you want one to have a bit more of a presence, so you can draw that figure larger. Also, just a quick note, if during your project you're using multiple figures, you only need one full figure. You can actually have another figure in the drawing that maybe is just a head and shoulders because they're in the foreground or something like that. You just need one full figure on the page. Contrast also, just to remember that things that have more contrast will advance in space. So if maybe you have a drawing where you're like, why isn't this leg coming forward enough? It's not sitting right. It doesn't look like it's where it needs to be. Maybe you can up your contrast and that'll bring it forward a little bit more. So I'm just going to real quickly show you some different artists that work figuratively. This artist is one of my favorite figure artists. Her name is Lorraine Shemesh. These are some of her sketches prior to making her drawings. She does these great drawings of figures underwater. She has other drawings too, but I think these are extremely interesting. So here is one of her drawings. She has two figures underwater that are grasping each other's limbs, which is really cool. Here's just a quick view on how that sketch that she did kind of translates over to her actual extended drawings, her completed pieces. So she's a really, really great artist to be looking at if you like the figure. And her robo forms she uses, you can see on the picture on the left, you can actually see that she's drawn in the anatomy. She has like the femur of the thigh in there, and she has the fibula and the tibia drawn in, which is really interesting. You can see that she's also put in some of the muscles like the gastrocnemius of the calf, the back of the calf, the Achilles tendon, things like that. So she's really, really great to be looking at. This is Elmer Bischoff. I really like how loose and painterly some of his ink wash drawings are. He also has kind of an illustrative element to a lot of his drawings where you can see the outline, so it gives it almost like a storyboard kind of feel, which I think is really beautiful and poetic and really great. He also has some different pooling techniques that he does with the ink, and his are just very, very stark, very black and white, but also very visceral. So he's also a really great artist to be looking at. Also, if you haven't played with ink and ink washes yet, now's a really great time to try. It's a really fun and versatile way to draw. This is Aubrey Beardsley, for those of you who are fans of illustration. Aubrey Beardsley, I believe, may have been a Victorian artist, don't quote me on that. But her figures are very beautiful and very detailed, but also very simple too. She has a lot of contour lines with some textures and patterns and things that will bring her characters to life. So she's also a really great artist to be looking at, especially if you're an illustrator. That's a really, really great kind of Art Nouveau artist to be taking a look at. This is Henry Moore. I've shown him in a couple of different lectures. His drawings are very different from his sculptures. He's known mostly for his sculpting, but his drawings are also really incredible and engaging. And these are just sketches that he's done. There's a lot of cross contouring, and the figures are very kind of, his drawings are a little dark, but they're also very emotional and quite wonderful and lovely. He has a whole series of sketches that he did in the undergrounds where people were living, which are really incredible to take a look at. And he also uses some different media as well. So if you're trying to look for experimentation, he's a really good mixed media artist to be looking at too. This is Philip Pearlstein. He does amazing figurative drawings. He uses a lot of hatching and cross contour, and his figures are always cropped really in really interesting ways. So here's an example of one of his drawings where it also has the figure in space, but he has an actual cityscape drawing in the background that has a lot of perspective in it too. Now, when I say I want you to do a drawing of the figure in space, it could be a figure in a chair with a ground plane. It doesn't have to be anything so in-depth, but that's also, if you want to spend a little more time, you absolutely can. Here's another one of his drawings with two figures in it sitting in chairs, and there's a rug in the background. I really like the different tones in this drawing that he uses for values. They're very soft. I really like, he has a lot of poetry. You can see right on the back of this arm here, there's this beautiful reflective shadow. I don't think you can see my mouse, but if you look at the figure in the foreground, the arm that's closest to us, he's got some lovely reflected shadows going on there. And then this is Isabel Bishop. She's also kind of illustrative. She does painting as well. These are some studies that she's done of figures. She has quite a number of drawings that she's done of people in soda shops. So she's a really great artist to be looking at. When she does focus on the figures and has their faces included, they have some really interesting expressions, and their body language is always, it always looks like they're very natural and very in motion. So she's a great artist to look at as well. And this last one here, this is Jacob Lawrence. He is also a painter, but some of his drawings are really interesting. If you want to do like a quick 2 to 3 hour drawing of multiple figures in a space, I know with social distancing that's a little bit difficult, but you can also do that as well. So that's just some options that are available to you. Coming back here. All right, so that's really all it is. I know, pigs in space. I love the Muppets. I actually got to go to the Center for Puppetry Arts in Atlanta, Georgia over the winter break, and I got to see the pigs in space in person, which was super cool. So does anybody have any questions before we wrap this up and say goodbye for now? Hopefully I'll get to see more of you on Instagram. Again, I will be doing this assignment with you, and I don't have anything to hold my camera for the Instagram live, so it's really hard for me to draw and stream at the same time because I use both hands when I draw, which is kind of, different. So I'm working on it right now. I've just been doing like a few periodic, like 5-minute streams throughout the drawing, but I will be drawing this assignment with you again, probably next week. Hopefully I will probably wait until Wednesday to do it because I do everything at the last minute and I'm moving on Monday. So Tuesdays I also have lots of classes, but if you guys don't have any questions for me, again, I'm available all day today. If you want to shoot me some emails, anything like that, I do have a night class, so I might take a while to get back to you, or you might not hear from me until tomorrow if you email me after like 6 o'clock tonight. But I will get back to you as soon as I absolutely can. Get my customer service script on there for a second. So let's see. In comparison to the last assignment, do you essentially want us to draw the world around the figure as well and be more detailed with the features of the figure? Yes. Yes and no. I don't want you to go over the 2 to 3 hour time requirements unless you do have the time and you want to dedicate that time to the drawing. I do absolutely, yes, want you to draw the figure in their environment. As well. So the figure and whatever environment they're in. You can, it is essentially a combination of everything. It's a little bit of, it's kind of tying still life and perspective and the figure all together. So it's the figure and their environment, and it's whatever you can get done in 2 to 3 hours. By no means am I requiring you to get super crazy detailed on anything. You don't have to spend more than the 2 to 3 hours on it, unless you want to, which if you want to, that is great. I am all for it. Just keep drawing. I mean, everybody knows that this is the most important class this semester. So, but that's a great question. And again, if you need help, just let me know. I'm totally here. Any other questions before we wrap up? Okay, well, like I said, I am free and available to email. Make sure you are tagging me in your progress. Even with this drawing, snap a couple in progress pictures as you're doing it, post it to your Instagram, and tag me at Prof Feathers, and extra credit if you use the extra credit spirit fingers hashtag. So let's see. Yes, Cynthia, these are actually on the Canvas page right now. So if you go to Canvas, they should be right under the figure in space. It should say today's lecture, figure in space, something along those lines. Let me check. I'll go on the Canvas page here. So yes, PowerPoint lecture, the figure in space, this is on there for you. If you'd like any recommendations for any other artists as well, let me know. I have tons and tons and tons and tons of artists that I could recommend depending on what you're looking for, if you're wanting to look at some different things. But this is available, and then this stream itself will actually be saving to the YouTube channel after it's finished, so it will save. So it'll be there in case you need to go back and watch anything that you might have missed. And that's true of every week. The live feeds will post and they'll be saved to the page in case you can't make it on time, which is totally fine. I'm not taking attendance for these. If you can't make it, everything's posted to the YouTube page, so you can go back and watch them on your own time if for whatever reason you can't make it to class. Okay? All right, great. In the meantime, email me. Let me know if you have anything. I will see you on Instagram. I will see you here again on YouTube next week. Feel free to send memes. Also, there's that really cool discussion page to post different books that you might be looking at for drawing. And if you guys want me to start any other types of discussions, like different memes you're looking at, or different poetry, or things that have just gotten you through the whole Corona thing, let me know, and I will make that happen. But thank you all so much for tuning in today. It's really, really good to see you. I won't keep you any longer since we're at the half-hour mark. I hope you all have a great day. Good luck drawing. Let me know if you need anything, and stay safe. Bye.